Before we start, I would like to ask your help to do two things. First, tell a friend or two who you think might like the show. And second, please rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The more reviews the show gets, the more likely it will even appear in search results. Thank you, and now on to the show.
They make the trek out to Burning Man for a week and a day. After a lot of work, oh, there's a lot of play. Party, 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 drama, 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 bitch, bitch, bitch. Year after year, they come back to scratch that itch. They all say their lives have been changed. After many years, lives have been rearranged. That change is what this show is all about. You'll see the impact of Burning Man up and out. So sit back, relax, and cancel all your plans. These are the stories about the shadow of the man.
Hello, and welcome to the Shadow of the Man Show. I'm your host, Andy, the avant-garde artist from New York. No, that Andy. Today, our guest is the one and only the John Jennifer Marx. Welcome.
Thank you, Andy. Happy to be here.
So I'm trying to remember how I got in touch with you. I think you had commented on something else, and we had a brief interaction, and I was like,
well, you have such a absolutely delightful cast of characters that you've assembled for the podcast. And so I saw it on Facebook or Instagram, and it was like, because normally you gotta go, oh yeah, okay. And then you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing. And it was like, and the graphics were really beautiful and compelling. So it was kind of like, this looks kind of interesting. So I then dig in, and it's also not the usual characters too. So there's some people, that go a little bit before. There's people that go off tangentially. There's people that maybe some people have heard of, but not everybody's heard of. And so there's something really intriguing by that. And so I think I probably started commenting on a couple of them. And then you picked up on that right away, and then we started the dialogue. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's just funny because I don't know. There's not much rhyme or reason. Okay, we're peeling back the the covers to the audience, but in terms of getting guests, it's kind of more of like one person leads to another person, leads to
yeah. Well, it's a network, it's community, which is kind of classic Burning Man.
Like Burning Man, yeah. And so I'll, in the beginning, which is kind of people I knew, and then they would, because some people they see oh, Shadow of the Man, ooh, that's dark. It's all about people who want to bitch about Burning Man, and I was like, no. It's more about how has Burning Man impacted people over time, right?
Well, you need to let people bitch about things too, right?
They can talk about whatever.
Yeah. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah, so it's basically your story, because I want to have just a diverse cast of characters, people old and young, and black and white, and women and man. I mean, just in everything in between. And just to get as broad as spectrum as possible, just to answer this question of just. What are we doing?
What are we doing? Why are we doing it?
Why are we doing this? Why would you come back year after year? I mean, I posted this thing on because Marion and I talk every once in a while, and she's a very unsung kind of job.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Go on about that later. But I don't know. People were on social media were just but it's just a big party. What's the big deal? It's just why are you guys doing all of this? It's why are you calling it a movement? Why are you doing all this year-round stuff? It's why are you doing that? You should just be you should just set up the party, let people party, and then clean up from the party. And I posted something where I was well, if this all was just one big party, why would this be going on? Why would some people dedicate their lives to this? Why would you do this for 40 years? Would anyone have their right mind?
Well, on a vast world epic level, if it's a giant party, then we're on the deck of the Titanic, right? And the thing for me is, instead of being on the deck of the Titanic with the giant party, I want to be on a different ship that's actually going into the future, based on everything that we've been doing for the last 40,000 years as human beings.
Yes.
And so if you look at that, and I think Larry took that point of view, if you look at that, and also I think cacophony folks did the same thing. It's like
Hmm.
the emergence and the evolution of Burning Man and its going in and out, in with cacophony, out with cacophony. I mean, it's an interesting story that a lot of people don't know or hear about
Hmm.
cacophony, party goers. But the thing about it is it's a response to the human condition.
Hmm.
Burning Man is intentionally, very specifically. And I like to say it's a social experiment gone awry in a good way. I mean, obviously, there are some precedents. There's the Urban Iditarod, which a lot of people haven't heard of, but that's an
Hmm.
important one. One of the better ones. Brides of March, one of my absolute favorites. Jennifer Goes.
Hmm.
In my Jennifer mode, I go. Now it's like 4 blocks from my house, so it can't not go. And but also SantaCon. And so, there have been some good things and some, questionable things. So
It's been
SantaCon,
in the news lately. You've
yeah,
seen.
well, there was thankfully there was some rebalancing of the narrative in the sense that people just see it as the giant party again, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's
okay.
the
So just some
normal thing. So
context.
going back to the giant party,
Okay.
the idea is SantaCon is a giant party now. And you could say, well, you might want to look at why SantaCon started and what was the basis of that. And so I think in some ways, it takes a group of people and in SantaCon's case, I would argue that it's sort of lost its original mission, but I haven't seen the movie. I'm looking forward to seeing the
It was
movie.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, was it great?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's many of the same cast of characters. They might be off on different extremes and different versions of things. I mean,
Hmm.
there's another person of um, fluid gender, Chris Radcliffe, that was part of that was never really part of Burning Man so much, as
Yeah.
far as I know. I mean, there's a great picture of Chris in a dress with a rifle,
Yeah. I know. I was
and
like, wow, he looks really good in that
he
dress.
looks amazing. He looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you dig into those stories, I mean, Chris's story, he wrote online. I mean, there's a whole thing that he wrote about his experience of being not your normal gender. And
Hmm.
I actually don't know is I don't he's not transgender because he never transitioned fully,
Hmm.
but there's so many nuances to gender. I call myself twin gender. And maybe
Yeah.
Chris was twin gender, which is similar to non-binary, is similar to third gender.
Ah.
So we're exploring, like we don't have to come up with one word. Maybe there's going to be 20 different categories. Maybe we should stop being so binary about everything,
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
kinds of things. Anyway, so the thing is though, back to a SantaCon and the party group, um, there are folks from time to time that feel like maybe the world needs a little help. And maybe if you do something and you do a little experiment here and you do a little something over here, because none of us can rule the world, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
or at least none of us, I believe at Burning Man, not all the people who go to Burning Man, want to give up their souls to become politicians and change the world. Now, not that all politicians give up their souls, but let's say that on average, and it's certainly in the political climate we have today, it's very
Hmm.
divisive and
You
difficult.
definitely pay a price.
You pay a price, yeah.
Hmm.
And so the idea of changing the world or at least rebalancing the world comes from a different perspective with Burning Man. And I think it's a unique perspective. And I think it's a forward looking perspective.
Hmm.
So the perspective of have the politicians fight it out, that's sort of, let's say, old school. Old school to me, meaning the entirety of the agrarian era of humanity is based
Yeah.
on let's fight it out, right? And so Burning Man says, I mean, there is the idea there's a Burning Man angle and especially a cacophony angle to Fight Club, right? So
Hmm.
so there, but Burning Man, since we're trying, at least you have to help me kind of refocus on Burning Man sometimes, but
Oh, yeah, you know,
but
right here.
But at least with Burning Man, the thing is it's about looking at the world in a different way, and it's about community. For me, Burning Man is burning. My little quick quote is Burning Man exists in my world. Burning Man exists to encourage you to embrace community and kindness through
Hmm.
participatory art. And I would submit
Yeah, I like that.
that if you can do that, you will change the world in such fundamental ways that it won't matter if we're in a capitalistic economic system or a communistic
Yeah, the
economic
mechanics of
system.
how you get there. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
about what the people, what's in the hearts of the people. Any of those systems can work in theory. In theory, communism sounds great. I mean, my last name, right? I know I've done a little bit of research because my last name's the same as the famous Karl Marx.
Oh, I thought it was the comedian.
Oh, well, there's both. This is the Burning Man crowd. It's like yes, I'll have both, please.
You're that communist comedian, aren't you?
I'm the communist comedian, yes. And
Karl Marx was the biggest joker of all time.
at all times. Well, weirdly, my father was a college professor. So guess his name and guess what he taught.
Carl?
Yes,
Pottery.
economics. So my father was an
Wow.
economics professor named Karl Marx with a K
I wonder
and an
like what
X.
people like the freshmen thought when they kind of came into the class and sat down for the first day. We were just it's like we know what we're getting
It's a
into. We're being
little like, well, he wasn't, he taught macroeconomics and
well, I'm
microeconomics. And
sure it was
so he
entirely
taught.
different what they thought it would be. Like, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, suffice it to say, one of his problems was he wasn't able to publish much. Fortunately, he was
I
able to
wonder
get
why.
tenure. Yeah, I know. He was able to get tenure before the publisher perish concept became the rule of academia. So
Mm,
he was an absolute dedicated, teacher, and
okay.
um, and I remember him bringing students over once in a while or talking about students, and he brought some students over from the Middle East one time, and this was before OPEC and
Hmm.
before they realized they could just like do it themselves. And I swear to God, they were talking about like you could just do this yourself. And this is how an economist would tell you what to do, right? And they were like,
Really? Like,
really?
like, okay.
Well, I think that, sometimes, and this is a Burning Man theme, sometimes, you just need to learn to do it yourself. If you don't like the table over here that's been around for 40,000 years, just start building new tables.
Yeah.
And
Well,
to
that's
me, Burning
also
Man is a new table. And
yeah. Like
to
one
me,
of the
oh,
beauties about like about Burning Man, whether it's Black Rock City or even like regional events, it's like
yeah,
it's almost like a permission structure where like people kind of go into it thinking, like, oh, I'm just kind of self-contained. It's just like, or
yeah,
I couldn't do that, or
yeah.
I'm not an artist, or I'm not that. But
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's like it gives you the freedom to be. It's like you could be an artist, or you could be a different gender, or it's like
Yes,
you could
yes.
be all these different things. But people, I think they're just kind of like in their box,
So
in
instead
their
of,
life, like yeah.
yes, instead of making rigid boxes, whether it's pink and blue gender boxes or whatever the boxes are,
Hmm.
Burning Man celebrates the differences and the similarities. Whereas like architects, so I'm an architect, architects, uh, I go to this conference, the World Architecture Festival, and one year to illustrate a point, I took a picture of like the lunch scene, and the lunch scene is just all these tables and all these little areas, where people are kind of snacking on stuff that the vendors provide you for free, kind of thing,
Hmm.
and so there's a couple hundred people. I take the picture and I go later when I show it to people, I go, tell me which one's the artist. And they go, and you start looking. So architects, we're supposed to be the creative, imaginative profession, right? And we do these, we build cities, we design buildings, we do all this kind of stuff. We dress within 3% of each other. It's like, it's all black. I'm wearing black right now, talking to you. Um, uh, it's all black. It's all understated. It's all, yeah, but you've got a t-shirt with vibrancy. So I've been bucking that trend now. I've got this great artist collective that makes jackets in New York.
Uh-huh.
called Snow Milk, and these
Huh.
things are amazing. I'm in heaven now. I've waited 67 years for somebody to make jackets like this. Made by hand,
Uh-huh.
and with provocative statements on them. Like the latest one is words hold power. Choose them carefully. Think before you speak. I love that, right?
That's
So,
great.
and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful jacket. It's multicolored. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but as I will do.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, how about let's go go back to the beginning. So what was the first time you'd ever heard of Burning Man? Like what had actually gotten you to go out to Burning Man?
I'd heard of Burning Man ages and ages ago.
Mm.
Not in 1986. I don't think I'd heard of Burning Man in 1986. Although, interestingly enough, other weird little factoid. So my wife and I are going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary
Wow, congratulations.
on June 21st of this year, which is
Hmm.
also literally the same day as Burning Man's 40th anniversary.
Oh, really?
The same day. Yeah. Not that that means anything, but it's just kind of
Oh,
fun factoid.
wow.
So what happened was I'd heard about it. I've always been somewhat involved in the arts, but
Hmm.
as an architect, we work way too much overtime. We focus way too much on all the things it takes to build a building, and so it would be little things, and my wife went to the Art Institute. A lot of my friends went to the Art Institute in San Francisco. So there was a whole Burning Man contingent over there. David Bast is a graduate of the Art Institute,
Hmm.
and uh, and so for a while there was in the early days. Uh, so I'd heard of it, and then in about let's see, 2000 and let's say 12 or so, I
Oh.
wanted to go. I bought a book. It might have been Ply on Fire, or I don't know. It might have been Stuart Hardy's book, but there was a book. I've
Hmm.
got it in the bookshelf somewhere. But I bought that and I had it hanging around the house. And my daughter, who was probably 30 something at the time, she looked at it and she goes, Dad, like, why do you have a book on Burning Man? And I go, because it's really interesting. Look at all this art. She goes, you know what they do there? And I go,
There's
act like
Satan
human
worship.
beings. Because your children put you on this pedestal like your parents never have sex and they don't do anything wrong, they never
Hmm.
lie. Well, we do all these, we are all human, right? So
Hmm.
we started talking about it and we decided we were going to go. So this would have been in 2012 or 13. So we
Okay.
tried for 3 years to go and we could never get tickets, because we
Oh.
go online and it's like nothing, nothing, nothing. So then I'm hanging out at a retreat with a new friend,
Hmm.
named Matt Cheney. So Matt Cheney was part of founding BlackRock Solar back in the day. And he's
Oh,
also
okay.
still part of BlackRock Labs. And he's a
Uh,
clean tech finance person, right? So so anyway, so the thing is we're talking and shooting the breeze and so to speak. And so, we go, what are you doing this summer? What are you doing this summer? And I start rambling off something and I go, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm going to Burning Man with my daughter. And I go, what? I've tried for 3 years to go to Burning Man. And Matt at this point in time had been to Burning Man 6 times.
hmm.
Matt was part of the group that did Green Man, right? Matt
Oh,
and his
okay.
group, I think that was before BlackRock Solar. Matt and his group provided all of the infrastructure, all the technology to do Green Man.
Hmm.
And so Matt's, talking about this, and he goes, you're going to go with me, with my daughter, because I said my daughter and I. So it was like the daughter father trip.
Hmm.
So this is where my entry point into Burning Man is kind of upside down
So what
versus
year was that? Like
most people.
2015 or?
2015, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so Matt's a character for sure, right? Like many people are at Burning Man, and so unpredictable, unreliable, passionate, brilliant. all of these things. And so I wasn't quite sure that we were going to actually make it to Burning Man. But he kept saying, no, I got the tickets, and no, I got to work this thing out. And but we can only stay like four days. We can't stay the whole time. And I'm like, I don't understand why, but I don't care. Like, we're going to Burning Man, right? So we rent an RV and off we go, right? And it's great. So what happens is we start late. We're supposed to just leave at noon. I think we leave at like 7 o'clock at night. So we get to Burning Man at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's all kinds of adventure along the way. I mean, it was like, we get to the gate and it's like you have the wrong tickets and you got this and that. And it's like, well, so Matt finally, because Matt knows where to go at 3 in the morning. So
Hmm.
Matt parks the RV in the semi truck trailer parking lot for Arctica, which is
Oh,
a huge no. No, no, no. Thou
yeah.
shalt not park in that
Yeah.
service yard because that's where the trucks back up to go to get into the thing, right?
Yeah.
So we're, right off a center camp, right? So
Uh-huh.
that's where he parks because, it's dark and he knows where to go, but it's dark and it's 3 in the morning. So he's not going to wake people up going, where am I supposed to put this RV? So, so come 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and there's the four of us, right? Kind of sleeping in the RV. We've been up all day. And it's like we're all crusty and, we're sleeping.
Hmm.
Bam, 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 bam. Matt, Matt, you fucking asshole. Bam, 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 bam. And so Matt gets up and he's all crusty too. It's like, "Argh." And he opens the door and he goes, Marion, it's so great to see you. So where are we supposed to be? We're supposed to be in first camp, right?
Uh-huh.
So my first moment at Burning Man, on literally, kind of at Burning Man, was Marion screaming at Matt. And then in classic Burning Man Marion fashion, Marion's like, "Oh, hi, how are you? Who are you?" And she's really sweet. And then it's like, to Matt, because she's got an emotional range, let's call it, right? Somebody
She
might say
has
two
to.
sides.
Yeah,
She has
yeah,
an emotional range. She
yeah.
can be so sweet and empathetic and wonderful, and she can be, fierce,
Firm, strong.
firm,
Yeah,
strong, fierce. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And
so was she like
so
code switching back
she,
and forth? Like,
well,
oh
no,
hi, then
well, two
like, get
different
this
people.
goddamn
She,
RV out of
she's
here.
like she knows Matt's but as it turns out, Matt misbehaves all the time, and this is a bit of their relationship, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, you got to imagine with Burning Man, you got to be able to be nice to people that you can be nice to, and sometimes you've got to be firm and strong, and have
Yeah. It's
have
also that's just the kind of relationship that sometimes people have. It's like you
yeah.
could rib each other, you can be raw with each other, and then just call each other all sorts of names, and then fall down in the dirt laughing together.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like,
totally like that.
yeah.
That they have
Hmm.
that relationship. So anyway, so that's my entry point, right?
Wow.
To Burning Man, and for whatever reason, we we are going to be in our 10th year in the same camp. So it's an interesting perspective to be in that camp, especially
Wow.
that long.
So 2015, after like a number of
Yeah.
years, the sold out years, you couldn't get a ticket, and finally you land smack dab in first game.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes, yes,
Wow.
yes. Yes, the world works in strange ways. And so, what happened though was it started a whole, which might be your third question. It started a whole level of engagement,
Hmm.
but at a different level than for most people. So I started working with people in development.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you ever met a woman named Cupcake, which could be any of a couple thousand women likely at Burning Man with a client
Hmm.
named Cupcake, but
Cupcake.
Teresa Duncan. So anyway, so Burning Man, as you went to the party, why can't we just have the party and clean up after it? And why does the Burning Man have to have a mission? So
Hmm.
so if you start to understand the mission, and you want to embrace it, and you want to help it, it takes resources beyond just people's time. It takes resources to support the regionals. It takes
Hmm.
resources to get an appropriate message out there, which isn't like come out and party, dude. To balance it all out. And it takes resources, to do Burners Without Borders and to do Fly Ranch and to do all sorts of things that further the mission.
Hmm.
But the mission has many different aspects. There's that part of the mission, which is the formal part that comes through the organization. But the real power of the mission and the real power of Burning Man is all of us.
Oh yeah.
So I've met a full range of people, and partially through First Camp and partially through friends of mine. So which goes from Jerry James, who's
Hmm.
Jerry and Larry on the beach, right, to John Law, to all of these people in between. And what's fascinating is to find out how many people say they founded Burning Man. But to me, in classic Burning Man fashion, the more people that say that, the better it is, right? I mean,
That they
the org
themselves had founded Burning Man. That what
because
they say?
Burning Man wasn't just Jerry and Larry on the beach.
Yeah, nah, yeah.
They had an idea, and they didn't have the idea that it became, right? So in that evolution, the cacophony input mattered. In that evolution, the cacophony aspect going away mattered. It mattered what happened in 97 when when
Hmm.
when Marion and Harley and Will and Crimson and Danger Ranger was already part of it, and Larry all formed together what they
Hmm.
call the cultural founders.
Hmm.
But the reality is the people that participated, that did things, that put in the time and put in the effort, they're huge. I mean, the six of them, the two of them. I mean, it went from Larry and Jerry, let's say. I mean, there's so many different stories about how this
Hmm.
happened. So, like if you talk to Flash, Flash. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
talk to Flash, he'll give you a different version of Larry and Jerry on the beach.
My favorite, like the quote about Flash is like, so many people told me this. They're like, if you're like, don't ever talk to Flash, it's like he's got a lot, like everything that he says he's done. It's like it's really Dana Albany that did it.
Well, Dana
I actually
is
interviewed Dana like a little while. I told her that she was like laughing her
Dana,
ass off.
Dana is like the definition of a goddess. I mean, not just
Yeah.
that she's, physically beautiful, but just as a heart and her
Yeah.
soul and her
But going back to what
love for,
you're
yeah.
talking about, like everybody claiming, it's just like I started this, I started that, like I'm
But you listen to
Spartacus.
their stories, you listen to their
Yeah.
stories, and they made significant contributions,
I
right?
think everybody did,
Exactly.
but it takes a
Exactly.
village, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
So
yeah.
so so it's important, and and people, have written some books and have given some acknowledgments. But in the end, none of the individual names matter. And I think
Hmm.
Larry would be the first to say, we created a spark,
Hmm.
and then we guided the spark the best we could, right?
Yeah.
And we're still guiding the spark. The community, the org is guiding the spark, but ultimately the spark has to be the people. It has to ignite people to be their best selves.
Yeah.
And
But I think
and
there's a kind of a dichotomy here too, where it's like, yes, I mean, it does take a village, and like Burning Man wasn't just sprout from Larry's loins in the beach in
on the other hand, without
1986.
Larry,
Like,
there would be no Burning Man.
yeah, but
Without
without,
all this cast of characters,
yeah.
including like Marion's unique personality,
Oh
if
yeah.
it wasn't there,
Oh, we'd be
each of the
dead
six
a
of them
long time
balanced each
ago.
other out
Yeah,
in
yeah,
weird and wonderful ways,
yeah.
and not always pretty, but that's Burning Man,
Well,
right?
it's life. We're all
It's
human
life.
beings.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing is we need to embrace this
Hmm.
idea of there's a couple of things we need to embrace. One of them is
Yeah.
this idea that we're all human, and that we're all special. And some of us get opportunities. We're in the
Hmm.
right place at the right time,
Hmm.
and we push something. We fight for it. Larry pushed something. He fought for it. He fought hard. It was difficult. I
Hmm.
mean, all kinds of things could have happened. He could have failed in
Oh yeah.
96. He could have failed in 97. He could have failed. I mean,
He
and
could have given up and
caveat,
walked away.
he
Yeah,
could have, yes, he could have done some easier things, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but he didn't. He persevered, and to the people that did, that have walked away from other things or even from Burning Man, that's also part of the human condition.
Hmm.
Like
But
so,
also
so
other people got inspired and came along for the ride too. But also
yeah,
that's part of the reason for doing my show is so that I want I don't just want like people's
exactly.
like perspectives, but I also want people to kind of like but like, oh, this is an opportunity for you to tell your story. And there's so many hidden stories behind the scenes, like we were saying, like there's so many helping hands that helped to, I mean, back in the day with the big rope, like raising the man,
Oh, right, yes.
like it's
Well,
kind of
who
like
came
that,
up
like
with the
so
idea
many
of the rope,
hands.
and
But yeah.
who organized that thing, and how did they organize it, and how, and there's Rod Garrett, right, with Rod's Road, and it's like
Hmm.
there's so many people, there's thousands, and
Yeah.
when I talk to those people, I mean, there's a little bit of ego to it, but more
Oh,
often than
yeah.
not, I mean, but that's human too, right?
Oh, exactly. That's the one
So,
thing people forget about Burning Man is that we are all human and that we are subject to
yeah.
human nature.
Yeah. Oh, Larry was no saint. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody that I know is a saint. I mean, there's some people that
No.
come close, but you're talking about 1/10 of 1%, right?
Hmm.
So all the rest of us, but this doesn't excuse bad behavior. It just means
Oh,
that, we're not all we are a balance of success and
yeah. We're
failure.
not devils and we're not angels. Like we're human
Well, and
beings.
but some of us are a little more damaged than others, and some of us need a little more help.
Well, I think also just the nature of the whole endeavor. It's like I was thinking to some degree, like it almost attracts people who are kind of damaged in some like
Yes.
sense,
Yes.
and it provides something for them to grow, right?
Well, just like we were talking about, Burning Man embraces your quirky self, right?
Hmm.
But it also embraces community. So it's not like a pure libertarian, like do whatever you want, don't care about what that would be
What would
Ayn
that be?
Rand's version
Oh,
in Colorado, right? There is a version of Burning Man that's written down from Ayn Rand, right? And they all go out and they do this bubble in Colorado, right?
the effigy would
And
be this big
all the
atlas.
creative people, no, this was Atlas Shrugged, right? And no, but this is important because there's Larry's view, which would not be that, right? Because Larry's view would have compassion in it. Larry's view would have, well, to the degree that anyone can speak about Larry, right? Like
Hmm.
I did, so I would say my view of Larry, channeling Larry, is the best I can do, right? Because I knew
Hmm.
Larry, but I didn't know him well enough to know, like,
So you went in 2015, you landed in
yeah.
first camp, and then like did you what was your experience from that point on? Like were you just kind of like in the kind of center of Burning Man? Like
Well,
how did
so I
you interface?
started. Well, so the thing was my first experience. So people talk about oftentimes this epiphany they have, right?
Hmm.
They go to Burning Man and it's like the world could really be this way, and they come back changed, right?
Hmm.
Just like that. So I've been but I think part of that is these people are not generally that have that epiphany. We're not generally practicing artists. So I've been a practicing artist, poet, architect for 45 years, right?
Hmm.
So, or if I go back to when I decided to it'd be 60 years. So I've
Hmm.
been doing this for 60 years. So that was not my epiphany, although that's a beautiful epiphany when you see that happen with people.
Hmm.
But my epiphany is, and it goes back to the little story I told you about architects all dressing the same. My epiphany was what happens when 70,000 people are being self-expressive? And I was amazed because you wander around. I mean, I'm San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. I have all these friends. I'd say 5% of them are really truly self-expressive. Otherwise, they're kind of in a conformist thing. You go to Burning Man, and it's like the crazier, weirder, stranger, more authentic self you are, the more people are embrace that.
Hmm.
And at the same time, you feel like you're at a community of of creative people. of people that are outside of the realm, but you realize this is a safe place.
It's welcoming, and it's also
It's
kind of
welcoming.
challenging, where people kind of like, what can you do? Almost like the Capital
Yes.
One. What's in your wallet? It's like
Yeah, so you can't
what's
just
in
be
your
the
creativity
passive
pocket?
observer for very long. It's like I
Yeah.
think your first year you can be the passive observer, and then you sort of have to commit, which
Hmm.
I did, right? So I made art three times.
Oh.
We're also the proud stewards of a legacy, a Burning Man legacy. I think a true Burning Man legacy. So I
Yeah.
want to build it up so that when I show it to you, you go, oh yeah, okay. So when I say stewards is I didn't design this. We turned it electric, right?
Okay.
But because it was dying. But we are the stewards of the rocket car,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So
Yeah.
there's a picture I took on Playa. There's a woman who wears the balloon on her head and dances. She carries
Oh.
around a little battery powered leaf blower to blow up the balloon. So it's
Hmm.
not helium or anything. It's just normal air.
Ah.
But the thing is, there are things that are important to preserve, and there's well, so I got into it. And the second year I started to get into it philosophically. I didn't write a poem about Burning Man for 3 years.
Hmm.
But then when you start, there's all sorts of things and it weaves its way, this idea. So for a person like me, it's an endless thing to think about because it's a challenge of looking at the way the world has organized itself.
Hmm.
At least if you should always put this in quotes, it's like in the West. Because I've been to Burning Man events. I've been to there's a thing that was called the Burning Man convening that was at Esalen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I
A
went in
retreat kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
2018 and 19, right?
Hmm.
And in 18, it was just a whole group of people, and it was lots of classes and lots of together moments, and
Hmm.
heard Flash tell some really amazing stories with Coyote around the fire pit, right? That kind of
Hmm.
stuff. I mean, it was beautiful. But then the next year, in classic Burning Man fashion, people would complain about, the classes. So what they did was they say, okay, this year we've heard your input, and this year we want proposals from all of you to be able to come. If you want to come back, you have to do a proposal and you have to do a workshop. And so I got selected. They didn't select everybody, but they got selected, and myself and Maya uh, Zuckerberg and or Zuckerman and
Hmm.
oh God, her plain name's Real Girl, Debbie Van Hune. So we did a thing
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah.
creative communities. So if you've ever had that question, why can't we live like this year round? Creative community is an answer to that. And
Ah.
so that was a Burning Man inspiration, a thing that came out of Burning Man that did directly affected my profession. And so much so, I did a design competition in Saudi Arabia for a thing that's called the cube. So I don't know if you know your Saudi Arabian design competitions. The famous, infamous one is the line, and it's a 1,000 foot tall mirrored glass ribbon that's about I don't
Huh.
know 300 feet wide and 1,000 feet, not 300 feet wide. It's probably about 100 feet wide, and it's about 100 miles long.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
one. We competed on a different one called the Cube, but the
Okay.
Cube was fascinating because it was a portal to the metaverse. So imagine a cube
Ah.
that's 1,200 feet high and it's hollow inside, and
Wow.
it's a giant holodeck for anybody that knows their Star Trek lore, right? But basically it's covered with LED screens, so it's like a giant version of the Sphere in Las Vegas,
Yeah, yeah.
except that it's interactive. It's not a stadium seating thing. You can fit 30 spheres in Las Vegas into the cube.
Ah.
But the creative community part, so that was fascinating, but that wasn't the thing with creative community. Creative community part, we had to design a city of 500,000 people to go with the cube. And I said, we're going to do a creative community. And then everybody on the team, we had like 50 people from all over the world working on this thing.
Hmm.
And they said, what the heck is that? And I explained it to them, and the Burning Man references and all this kind of stuff. And they said, oh my God, that's so cool. Because what cities do, and when you experience them, you sort of notice when people plan cities, they talk about infrastructure, they talk about bus lanes, they talk about how to get rid of the garbage and how you're going to get power and how many trees there should be, which is
Mhm.
helpful,
Zoning. Yeah.
and zoning, and it's very cut and dried, it's very scientific, and
Hmm.
and there's all these interesting things that they're doing, and I always go, okay, I've heard all this, but tell me why you should love this new city. I understand why it'll work, but tell me why we should love it. And if you can't tell me why you should love it, you failed. And then
Or
you
even
wonder why
like why
most
do you want to
modern,
live here? You
or why would
know?
you want to live here? So
Yeah.
they say, well, for a good job. It's no, emotionally, why would you want to live here? So this leads up to another. So that was a beautiful thing that came out of Burning Man. So I've been running with that. I've won international design awards for the concept of creative communities,
Hmm.
done presentations in different parts of the world on the concept of the idea, in addition to doing it at the 2019 Burning Man convening, right?
Hmm.
So, um, and there's a lot of people trying to think this through too. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and there's some people trying to build
Hmm.
these things on a smaller scale. So which is great, you know. So we're all adding to the idea of what's going to make this thing happen and what's going to make it abundant. But the other thing, and the 10 principles uh, directly influence this, which is one of the beauties. And so people know, you know, the 10 principles didn't come out of nowhere. Danger
Oh,
Ranger
Larry
did it.
carved them into stone in 1986 and in a flowing robe
Yeah,
descended
yeah,
down
yeah,
the beach, with these
yeah, yeah.
15 and then one
So he
crash,
did.
then
Yeah,
10 principles. Yep.
yeah.
No,
So
it was
Danger.
in the
Well,
zeitgeist that kind of came about, into was
well, no, no. Danger Ranger did
2004.
a. I mean, well. So Danger Ranger did this great presentation at the Long Now Foundation
Hmm.
back in the day. And he said, I want to show you the Suicide Club's 12 principles and the Cacophony Society's, code of
Hmm.
whatever, right? And he did a diagram and he showed how they all ended up becoming in some
Oh
ways, with
yeah.
Larry adding things, and it just didn't appear out of nowhere.
Hmm.
But nothing appears out of nowhere. This is not to denigrate what Larry created. What Larry created was
Oh,
amazing, but it
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
come from nowhere.
No,
And
he
we should always acknowledge,
crystallized, like,
yes,
yeah, like what everybody was thinking, like, yeah.
and he tailored it specifically for a purpose,
Hmm.
which I think started with Flipside in Texas, right? The first regional.
Yes, yeah.
So the story I heard was people were saying we want to do these regional events. Flipside was the first one, but they needed guidance, like what should we do? And the feeling was, well, it'd be tough to just say do whatever you want, follow your bliss, right? They needed something. So Larry pulled all this together, and the one of the parts of the 10 principles which I find particularly compelling and brilliant is that they contradict each other, and that you're forced to navigate this. And I think of this as a series of paradoxes. Now, granted, this maybe comes from a Zen Buddhist interest in college, right? The idea of the cone, the idea of this kind of challenge.
Hmm.
But these represent these dynamics. And
Yeah.
in the West, regards to paradox, because I think they set up a bunch of paradoxes. In the West, we're rather fond of resolving paradox, right? So pick pink or blue, A or
Hmm.
B, you know, um, short or tall, whatever the thing is. And instead of, which I think is a much more Eastern fashion, Eastern notion, is to embrace paradox and
Hmm.
to say it's almost never either or. It's almost always both and the
Yes,
question
and
is
yeah.
just balance,
Yeah.
the balance between the two and how they interact. And is it two, or is it three, or is it 30, or is it 300? Because they all, and so it's difficult to do this purely with logic.
Hmm.
So you have to use a little of your heart, which is another paradox between the mind and the heart.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like you have to both be self-reliant. Now, you don't have to be anything, but you're
Mm,
encouraged to be, the
yeah.
provocation is, can you be self-reliant and very caring at the same time?
That's
Because your
true.
classic libertarian, the libertarian that people go, I hate libertarians, the classic libertarian unfortunately takes the view it's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. It's
And
only about me.
I don't
I'm
care about anybody
self-reliant
else. Like,
and
yeah.
everybody else can die.
Yeah.
And I see myself more as a compassionate libertarian. Like I believe in maximizing
Well, what kind of community
self-expression.
would you have if nobody cared about each other?
Well, but that's
A
the thing is
prison?
it's
Like,
well, look out and so on one level, I think one of the big valid criticisms of capitalism is it does not encourage compassion.
hmm
And in fact, if you're a C corp in the United States, you're not allowed compassion.
mm.
So if
Hey,
you're a
I
C, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll
well,
go
no,
on
just
another
interesting
tangent.
because something that's been kind of coming up recently. We're talking about the 10 principles. I always kind of looked at it as, or maybe now, like after all these years, I kind of look at the 10 principles more as like, it's a recipe for converting like random strangers into like really close friends, if not family. Like for me, it's like it's a roadmap. It's not exactly the destination.
Oh,
And
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's a roadmap. Totally a
so there's a
roadmap.
number
Yeah.
of like I know like some regional groups, and it's like a lot of people kind of view they're like, well, for us, like we have an 11th principle, which is consent, which is which
That's
is
a very
which is
common
definitely
one.
like very
Yeah.
very important, but I remember like there was an interview with someone that interviewed Larry, and Larry's like, yeah, I thought about that, but like I didn't put consent in there for a very good reason. The
Yeah.
reason being that like the 10 principles are debatable. Like you said, like sometimes they're contradictory,
Oh,
and he says, and consent is not, right?
right.
you know
Also, kindness is not.
yeah,
So at Africa Burn, I'm led to believe that their 10th principle is each one teach one.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
that's a form of kindness, right? So I think the beauty is there's 10 and it's this great exercise that everybody gets to do is like, what's the 11th principle?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are consent. And I would say that consent at Burning Man is one of the great charms. When I talk to women about Burning Man, and I said, you can dress
Mm-hmm.
any way you want, which
Be
in the
yourself.
default world
Yeah.
is dangerous sometimes, right? You can dress any way you want, and it's not an invitation.
Mm.
It's not even an invitation for somebody to ask if it's an invitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're just being you. And if something's going to happen, it's a complicated thing, but because I'm naked or I'm half naked or I mean, sometimes half naked is even more provocative than naked, but that
Mm-hmm.
does not mean this is an invitation
Mm-hmm.
in any way, shape, or form. And it's a beautiful, I mean, largely safe place. It's not 100% safe. I mean, I wouldn't be wandering around naked at 3 in the morning in the darker stretches of you know the city. Uh, Not
Mm-hmm.
that something's gonna happen, but you're alone. But being alone, anywhere in the world can be.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah,
So,
so
have you been going to like outside of like the COVID years? It's like, have you been pretty much like back at Black Rock
oh
City
yeah,
like
no, it's
every
been
year?
every year since 2015, other than 20 and 21,
Mm-hmm.
because and we didn't go out to whatever one calls it, Renegade Man
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. I've
Yeah.
heard stories. I've heard good stories and bad stories. It depends
Mm-hmm.
on your point of view.
Yeah.
I'm led to
Yeah.
believe that in the second year there was an effort to encourage people who were rangers to make an effort to go out to the second year event because the
Uh-huh.
first year event had some problems.
Oh.
There was some anarchistic violence.
So it didn't
Ab
just kind of organically just pop together and everything was blissful and wonderful.
Not completely. There were parts that were that, and there were parts that weren't.
Hmm.
There were stories I'd heard about art being destroyed maliciously by
Oh.
um, folks for
Hmm.
no good reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these might be folks that have nothing to do with Burning Man. They just were out there
Hmm.
for because anybody could just go out, right? You just go
So
out camping.
all these years you've been going, are you still like in Campton Center camp there, first camp, or like
Yeah, no, we're still in first camp.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you interface with or do you volunteer or do you like how do you interface with the
Oh yeah, no, I
organization?
do it. Well, it would depend on the year and what's going on, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So I did a lot of helping with fundraising during COVID
Mm-hmm.
because Burning Man had to basically figure out how to do
How to survive?
a substantial amount of fundraising to survive, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So before they were doing certain things, but some things fell off. Like I was on the host committee for the autumnal. Have you ever been to the autumnal?
never been. No,
Oh yeah,
no.
the autumnal was one of the best fun things in the world. And
Wow.
feels
Yeah.
like, it's like again, it's like it feels like a big party. But the difference is it would start at like 5 and go until 3 in the morning.
Oh wow.
And there were two parts to it. So the first part was the fundraising part where it was a dinner with
Hmm.
tables and the whole thing. And it was at the Bentley Reserve for many, many years because they got some free space, but it was quirky, the Bentley Preserve. So what would happen is they'd do that for 2 or 3 hours, and then they'd switch and they'd have everybody leave, which is difficult in these spaces, right? Is to get
Mm-hmm.
everybody to leave. And this would have been maybe 200 people that were there for the fundraising dinner part,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't leave the building, but they had to go hang out for an hour or so. They take all the tables away, and then 2,000 people would show up for the big party
Mm-hmm.
with all the DJs and all the craziness and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was and it allowed both parts of what you need to all be there together.
Hmm.
And it was great. It was but it was very expensive, and it's a very much of a community driven thing.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out though you could raise way more money more efficiently by doing smaller events. Where
Yeah.
you get 20 or 40 of the right people together, and for $5,000 you could feed them with some donated wine,
Mm-hmm.
and you could raise $500,000, where to do the autumnal might cost $2 million to raise $500,000. So it costs a million and a
Yeah.
half dollars to do it, and you also have all the staff time that's not counted in that million and a half dollars.
Yeah.
But oh my God, was it a wonderful thing? So I truly miss it because it's like being everybody would dress up, but you could
Mm-hmm.
dress up in things that you couldn't wear on playa, right? Because you
Hmm.
didn't have to worry about it getting dusty. You didn't have to worry about it getting wet. You didn't have to worry about, all these, you'd have to worry about somebody spilling a beer on you,
Mm-hmm.
but aside from that,
Huh.
so people wore things that you would just not see.
A lot more black.
No, no, oh
It
no,
wouldn't show
no,
plant dust on
no.
there.
In one year, I wore this leather Venetian squid mask that was
Ooh.
so intense. Crimson told me it was too creepy, and
Crimson.
that Crimson told me it was too creepy. And I said, "Crimson's Burning Man." She goes, "Some things cross the line."
Wow.
So I put it on top of my hat, and instead of wearing it. And in retrospect, when I look at the pictures, it is definitely creepy-ish. But it's like, it was, I don't know. It just seemed like it was fun.
I don't know.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you should wear that out
So,
in the playa like late at night when
well,
encountering
it's the
someone.
kind of thing that it would get ruined on playa.
Ah!
No, but that's
Oh
the thing is
yeah.
it would get ruined on playa. And I was wearing a fish jacket. And that fish
Oh,
jacket would get ruined on playa. There's no
yeah.
way I could wear that
Yeah.
on playa. I mean, one dust storm and then it would be gone.
Yeah.
So, but that was anyway. That was one of the beauties of the autumnal was you do your outfits in a completely different way.
So, okay, let me move on to our second question. Just a little background for you. So, have you always been a San Francisco native, or like where'd you grow up? Because I know you said
No,
you
I
came
grew
to
up in the
Burning Man.
Midwest.
Okay.
I grew up in Illinois.
Oh.
And I came out to San Francisco when I was 22 in 1980.
Wow.
Uh, well, 80, 81.
What's sort of fun time there?
81. So I
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
been 23.
Okay.
Uh, and and then stayed. I was originally just going to come out, work for a couple of years, and then go to graduate school.
Did you interface at all with like like Suicide Club or Cacophony
No,
or
no,
any
I
of
didn't know
the
anything about them
yeah.
until getting into Burning Man,
Oh, wow.
and then meeting characters, like meeting John Law through Jerry James and meeting Miss P.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Miss P is amazing. I
Yeah.
love her. But I met her through Harley, right?
Yeah, she was one of her
And then it
tenants. Yeah, yeah.
turns out that Harley, I mean that Miss P now lives 2 blocks from me. And
Oh, really?
Harley lives like six
Like,
blocks. So
well,
so
Harley
it's
moved
like
down
a
the coast or something, right? Like,
well, I think she still has her her apartment or condo in
mm-hmm.
North Beach. But she did. She moved
Uh,
down the coast to a little beach town. I'm not sure. It kind of goes up and down. Like, how well is
mm-hmm.
that working? Who's she missing? Is she, I mean, I think she just needed space. But she also ostensibly she's helping take care of her mother.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So classic Harley, she's doing good work.
So you met like John Law and Miss P and Jerry James, but this is only like after you went to Burning Man, or
Yeah, yeah, after.
oh, wow, that's funny because
Well,
like
so
you
what
moved there
happens
in the
is,
'80s and like you were
well,
around.
I did a lot of things with the org. I did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things, it just, I mean, there's a lot I could go on. I should make a little Burning Man resume, but that sounds kind of anti-Burning Man like. But I've worked with Harley on projects. I've worked with Marion. I've worked with, I mean, and getting people to do things or trying to help, make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like the legacy of the rocket car, to keep that
Mm-hmm.
kind of in the family, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. But then anyway, so that you just meet. It's just a full range of people that you meet,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you meet people through doing art too, right?
yeah.
So so anyway, but also I've been trying to get Burning Man culture into the profession of architecture. So I was able to get Kim
Yeah.
Cook. Do you know Kim? Did you interview Kim?
Yeah, I think I did interview. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I got Kim Cook invited to do a keynote speech at the World Architecture Festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. I don't know, maybe she's the upcoming one. I can't remember. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's go on to our
Yeah.
third question. So like
Okay.
the impact of Burning Man on you, or just the impact of Burning Man generally. How would you
Oh,
describe?
yeah. Well, on me, the thing is, we talked about architecture, we talked about
Mm-hmm.
creative communities, we talked about the concept of embracing paradox, we talked
Mm-hmm.
about the concept of, what a new world might be, and
Mm-hmm.
how what happens at Burning Man is what I call proof of concept,
Mm-hmm.
that humans can do this, and that a wide variety of humans can do this. I mean, for example, Grover Norquist goes to Burning Man, right? And I know him.
Yeah.
I know him. You could try interviewing Grover. That would
Well,
be fun.
he's actually on my list. It's like
Oh, good. Okay.
he's
No,
somebody I really would love to, but yeah,
yeah.
I need an introduction. Yeah, yeah.
Well, he's a classic libertarian. Oh, well, let me
We can talk
uh
afterwards. Yeah, yeah.
well, I might see him
Oh, okay.
on Playa, let's say. So the thing is he's a classic libertarian, so he takes a certain point of view, and there's a lot of people that don't like him, at
Hmm.
Burning Man. But the thing is, he actually embraces on a functional level, his politics aside, on a
Yeah.
functional level, he absolutely embraces the spirit of Burning Man.
Well, that was kind of my whole idea for it. I wanted to interview him and
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine. I don't know if you know DeAndre Teeter.
Mm-mm.
Um, he's been going to Burning Man for like many years, but he's like very involved like in the American Communist Party. And so
Oh, yeah. So
I,
you got a total
yeah, I want to
opposite end
have
of the
like, you know,
spectrum. Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
but the
This
thing
is
is that like it
great.
doesn't matter. I don't know, because some people say it's like, oh, like leave politics out of Burning Man, but like, but in essence, isn't all art political in some degree or another?
Well,
You know,
I
but what I
think
always
that,
tell people is
yeah.
like leave the partisan politics. You know, this whole tribal kind of like partisan politics, like that can kind of stay out. You know, I mean,
Well,
if you
my
want,
version, yeah, my version would be there's politics and there's philosophy. So, to the degree
hmm
to which philosophy drives politics. So, in Grover's case, he has a philosophy of libertarianism.
hmm
Um, I see that as a philosophy.
hmm
You then could see, okay, what economic system would be an offshoot of the philosophy of libertarianism, and that's definitely not going to be communism. Uh,
oh no.
and so what form of capitalism or what form of anarchy would it be, right? I mean, there's
hmm
some libertarians that are on the anarchy side of it.
Yeah.
But if you stick with philosophy and human, then it's easy to avoid politics because politics is about power.
Yes.
And Burning Man might even argue that the philosophy of Burning Man would be how do you have politics without power?
Hmm.
There's a lot of challenges that come about that you can see how a culture can function in that space of embracing paradox, where you say, how can you have, what would politics look like without power? And what kinds of power? And so I think when Danger Ranger is really good at saying and Marion too, no politics. I mean, they have very different political uh, uh, thoughts, Danger Ranger and Marion,
hmm
and as do all of them. All of the
hmm
of the founders have different political thoughts. I mean, I think, well, one shouldn't speculate too much about some of these things, but anyway, but they do. They have different political thoughts
we're
on it.
all
But
individual. Everyone has different ideas. Like, yeah, yeah.
but they agree that politics, as an offshoot of philosophy, that politics itself is part of the default world that should stay part of the default world, and that
hmm
this needs to be a safe space to the degree that one can do that. And it's been shocking in the 10 years, the 9 years that I've been going,
hmm
that you do occasionally see politics. You occasionally, I mean, I remember talking to Stuart about this, about and a couple of other people about this. Is like do you remember there was a watermelon piece done by a rogue group that became a huge controversy immediately, and
Well, I think
this
they wanted to bring it, and then they were denied, and people were saying that's
no,
it was
no, no.
political. But
No, no, no.
then,
It's very clever because
okay,
I also know. I also, I know a lot of people, as you might imagine.
uh
Anyway, so in the legal department, so as well. So the thing about it is an anonymous group, right?
I heard that was the key to it. It was the anonymous
It
part
was an
of it.
anonymous
Yeah.
group that did a provocation with
hmm
a pro-Palestinian thing.
hmm
And it wasn't overtly political,
It was just a
right?
big inflatable
It was
watermelon,
yeah, it was a
right?
big inflatable watermelon.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the thing was, not everybody knows this, but the watermelon is the simple symbol of the Palestinian resistance,
Because it has the
right?
same colors as the flag or
No, but
something.
I mean
Right?
beyond that, not just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the same colors, but it literally is because in places where you're not allowed to to show the Palestinian flag, the watermelon becomes the symbol. It becomes the thing.
hmm
It's not a casual thing. It's not because you and I notice that the colors are similar. It's a real
hmm
thing. So the thing is, what Burning Man did was they didn't say no. They just said, look, it's against our policy, regardless of whatever else you'd say, that anonymous groups cannot get placement.
hmm
So you can reapply if your
Yeah.
group actually, and they didn't reapply. There was a moment there. So the issue becomes
Why?
of
I mean,
why they didn't reapply.
yeah. Why not?
Well, the theory,
Put your
but
name on it.
the theory that I've heard from some of my pro-Palestinian friends
Uh-huh.
is that they achieved their goal, which was to create a controversy that people would talk about, and that
Uh,
you would get an exchange of of
you
thoughts and
start a
passion.
conversation,
You start
basically.
a conversation. Um, there have been things that people have done because you can just go out there and drag your piece of art out into the middle of the playa, right?
Hmm.
And there's some rules about that. So, you got to follow those rules, but you don't
Yeah.
have to go through placement.
I think it's kind of a bit of a wasted effort, though, or to some degree, like because it's like, yes, you succeeded in your goal in starting a conversation, but I think if they had reapplied and put their names on it, they could have
Well,
continued the
I would have,
conversation,
yeah, well, then Burning
right?
Man
Like
would have had another thing to deal with,
it-
is
it's a
because
continue
there's
the
the goal.
conversation. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
there's the goal to make it not political. So then one could argue that there was a bunch of burners that did a memorial to the people that died.
Oh, the Nova Heaven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
which
I
was a
actually
beautiful
volunteered at
memorial.
that. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was not, I didn't feel it was political. I mean, obviously it was about a thing, but it
There
was
were
a,
different people because I actually volunteered there, and so like I
oh yeah,
interfaced with them. So like there were different people involved. Like definitely the Israelis, who traveled
yeah,
from Israel, who their direct
yeah.
experience. It's like they were a lot more emotional about it.
Oh no,
Like
it's a,
like anyone walking up with any kind of keffiyeh, no matter what color, they would
yeah.
be
Oh no, this
triggered
was,
and do it to try to explain. It's like it's kind of common, especially like going to the desert. People like going to Burning Man. They see these videos and this and that, and they go on eBay and they're like, oh, this will be a cool thing to keep me warm and the dust off me. Like
yeah.
it, for most people, it's not a political statement, but I think there's some
In
people who are
that
like
particular case,
taking it
yes, it
like,
wasn't a political.
yeah,
Well, people
yeah,
can take anything political, like
exactly.
you said, like isn't all art political?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, yes, but I have a bunch of watercolors that I've done that I would
Hmm.
call non-sentimental optimism. The politics of that is the idea that instead of fighting all the time and trying to kill each other,
Hmm.
right? What if we embraced a common humanity that was based on optimism and love,
Caring.
but in the and caring and well, I have a great quote for you. So here's my great quote
Okay.
on caring. Okay, so you're Rene Descartes. I
Okay.
think, therefore I am. Okay, so I think, therefore I am, totally imbalanced
Hmm.
notion. I mean, it changed the world, right? Completely. I think, therefore I am. We get science, we get iPhones, we get vaccines, we get all this wonderful stuff. I think, therefore I am. Linear, logical, verbal thought process. But I think that, or I believe, yeah, correct myself. I believe that Descartes only gave us half the equation. And I also believe that I think, therefore I am carries an arrogance with it, that thinking is the highest order of human achievement. And I would say there's a substantial number of people that believe that to be true. Thinking is the highest order of human achievement.
Hmm.
And so I wrote a piece that's in the Burning Man Journal, right?
Hmm.
During it was the year Larry died, and for iRobot, because Caveat said
I
everybody's
read
wrong.
that. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing in there is to rebalance it. I think we need to add to it. So it's I think, therefore I am. I care, therefore we are.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, because without caring, nothing matters. uh, Everything doesn't work if you don't care. But we don't promote care culturally.
Hmm.
The fine arts people are like, oh yeah, no, that lovey stuff that's not fine arts. And I was the vice chair of the board of the Art Institute in San Francisco.
Oh.
I know what I mean. Unfortunately, we had to close it, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
But which my little quote for that, I'm doing a memoir. My little quote for that, the chapter title on the Art Institute is love and toxicity. What happens when everyone loves something, but they all hate each other? Which is the world we are in right now, right?
Like they
It's
all love
like
the same thing, but then they hate each other?
they
Or
all love the school. They love the concept of the school. Everybody says, I want the school to be here forever. I love the school, but I hate you. And so, well, because for example, the students would take and the faculty would take an
how does
attitude
that work?
of eat the rich,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, Everybody needs each other. You
Yeah.
know, you need people with money. Tomorrow, you're just not going to have the U.S. government or the world subsidizing everyone's art projects,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Or your arts education. I mean, I'd love to live in that world, but we're not in that world yet.
No.
And then maybe with AI, right? So if AI, see the thing about AI is if AI creates enough abundance, material abundance, then you can do anything you want. So on the one hand, it sounds scary, and I don't know the outcome of AI, but people say, well, 1/3 of the human population is going to lose their jobs. That's a huge shift. But if AI creates material abundance, it actually doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Then we need to find things for bored humans to do, because a bored human is a dangerous human, right?
Devil makes use of idle hands. Yeah.
But here's Burning Man. Culture based on creativity, a culture based on engagement, a culture based on love. So you get to inflection points. There's an inflection point. I have a friend, a Burning Man friend named Tomasz uh, David Barrett, and he's an
Mm-hmm.
Oxford scholar. And I love this job description or professional description. He's an evolutionary anthropologist.
Oh.
So he wrote a book, and this is part of our bonding. We met in camp, actually. um, Part of the bonding. Marion finds very interesting people from around the world
Mm-hmm.
to give them a little bit of the Burning Man experience in camp, right? And part of our role as campmates is to facilitate their enjoyment and their understanding of Burning Man culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're all ambassadors in a way, which is important, to people that need to know about Burning Man, but are not necessarily going to come without a little help,
Yeah. Yeah.
campmates. But anyway, so Tomasz, evolutionary anthropologist, he takes the 340,000 year view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hunter-gatherer, and this is a theory. Other people have the same theory. He just wrote a book about gender, specifically, which is one of my interests as well, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like so. Um, how do boys and girls behave over the years. But anyway, there's the hunter-gatherer era, 300,000 years, 40,000 years of agrarianism. We're at the end of that era. Some people want to say, oh no, we're out of that era. We're on the new era. I'm not so sure because industrialization is less than 200 years old.
Mm-hmm.
1850 was the steam engine, right?
Yeah.
And the factory, and good things happened and bad things happened, right? And so 200 years out of 40,000 years, we still have an agrarian mindset. I think that Burning Man is part of humans trying to break out of that mindset to find different mindsets. So if we're at
Mm.
an inflection point, right, it's going down, just to illustrate like how it could go. It's going
Okay.
down. It could go down further, or it could go up.
Yeah.
And the difference between the down further and the up is what we fill in a vision of what that future should be, could be. And if that future is a future of love and compassion in balance with yourself, right? So it's a balance of the ego and the group. It's a balance of, which is why I love the concept of paradox. So my little self, like my bio, and I started this because Burning Man said you need a bio for something that we were doing together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said you need a bio, and so but it being Burning Man, I needed something clever. So I said I'm a part-time student of absurdity, paradox, kindness, and art,
I
in
love it.
that order. So the world is absurd. And but I'm a part-time student. Now, part-time student means observer to me, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
learning, you're observing. So the other half is actively engaged. So a monk, you might argue, is a full-time student.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, in my journey, I feel I need to be engaged. So part-time student, right? And then an understanding of absurdity leads to paradox for me, the
Mm-hmm.
epiphany of paradox. It's like it's like, well, I need to do something. What should I do? And then you say, "Well, do this or that." And it's like, well, no, it seems like it should be do this and that. And Burning Man is so beautiful with that. So it breaks you out of this mode of Western thinking that's been around for thousands of years, and it's served humanity well in certain ways.
Hmm.
You know, you have a few little blips like colonialism, destruction of the environment,
Just
little things like
little
that.
blips, yeah.
Little, oppression, little blips. So the thing is, though, I see there's great hope for this inflection point, but we need to talk about, we need to vision what that future would be. Otherwise, there's nothing to hold on to. The party boat people, to go to your beginning of
Hmm.
this, the party boat people, they don't think about this. They just want to go be on the ship that's not maybe sinking, but then maybe they don't care as long as the party goes until they get
Yeah.
tired, right? So, but it other parts of humanity, because not everybody wants to be a philosopher, or everybody, it should be a philosopher, is that, we all try to work these things out. And I think everybody should be a philosopher, and everybody should be an artist, and everybody should, anyway, but I think Burning Man shows a potential vision or a way to say, this is how these things could work. But
Hmm.
what's the work part? To me, the biggest thing is this balance of care between the individual and the group.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not one or the other,
Hmm.
and it's both together.
Yeah. Well, I like this whole idea. We come, I don't know,
Ah,
I don't know, see if I'm picking up what you're putting down. Um, like instead of like picking a side, instead of like being like just a rigid dichotomy, it's like embracing, like you said, like the paradox.
the
And
paradox.
there's learning in there of thinking, it's like, well, I don't have to choose A or B, black or white, male, female, whatever
It's
it is, like this
it's all of it
dichotomy.
together. It's all of
It's
it
like,
together. It's hard to
yeah.
conceptualize, but
And
if
you could
but if
learn so much, and you can
oh,
create and evolve so much just in through that kind of tension between, it's like, well, I don't have to pick either one, you
see,
know.
and then we do pejoratives. So my perfect thing is, okay. The classic thing is between black and white is gray, right?
Hmm.
So whoever said that the first time, and whoever keeps promoting that idea, had an agenda. They liked binaries, because what they were saying was between black and white is gray, but gray is boring, right?
But gray's infinite.
Well, infinitely boring. My version of what's between black and white is all the rich and varied colors of the universe, and all of the beauty of everybody that's in the in between, right?
Hmm.
Rather than, like, because in the US, historically in the US, the binary was white or not white,
Hmm.
right? And so, I mean, it's insane. But now part of the tension is people are saying it's all the colors of the universe between white and not white. And
Yeah.
this is where the fun is, right? I
Yeah.
don't I don't want to eat American diner food 24/7, McDonald's. I want to go to a Thai restaurant. I want to learn about Thai culture and philosophy by being at the, being I mean, San Francisco is such a rich
Oh,
place, right? It's just
yeah, I
so wonderful.
love it when I get back to it. Yeah, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
just funny, even just thinking of color theory, like between black and white, it's like, well, yeah, it is every color of the rainbow. I
Yeah.
mean, like in print, it's just like you add all the colors together, you get black. If you project colors, like with light, it's like you add them all together, you get white.
So
So
the other one is the word balance, right? So
hmm.
balance, people go, no, balance is boring. Like, that's the middle of the road. That's like, and I go, okay, a person that's doing some wild skate thing where
Hmm.
they're flipping up and around, right? It is impossible to do that if you're not in a state of balance. You can be the
Mm.
biggest badass, but you have to be in a state of balance. On a surfboard, you have to be in a state of balance. So balance has different meanings. Don't limit it to middle of the road,
Hmm.
because you can be at the edge of the precipice, and
Hmm.
if you're not in balance, you're going to fall off and die, right?
Even those old kung fu movies, The Drunken Master still had a sense
Oh,
of balance, right?
yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah. Well, I think we've been going an hour and 18.
Okay.
Any final words or anything you want to plug? Any like do you have like a website or anything or
Oh, just the idea. Well, I have a new book and all this kind of stuff, but just the idea that I think we're at an inflection point. I
hmm
think that all of the darkness that we see right now on both sides, on all sides, is this inflection point, and and old things are crumbling, right?
hmm
We need to replace them with wonderful things, and we have those wonderful things. We just have to really truly embrace the beauty of them and how that's going to help us get to the next era of humanity. And
hmm
that Burning Man really philosophically and artistically and culturally, because culture is the primary thing that will get you to care.
mm
Legal systems can't do that. Government programs, subsidizing education will help, but it doesn't really do that.
Yeah.
Um, you need all those things. Technology doesn't do that. Technology creates massive change, right?
Can
None of it
help, but
matters if
yeah.
we don't care, but culture can get you to care.
hmm
And Burning Man is culture. And the beauty of Burning Man is it's culture without its only agenda is to get you to open your mind. It doesn't tell you to be kind intentionally, right? Because that would be too focused. It would be telling you what to do. It just wants you to be in a place where you can discover kindness.
hmm
And it turns out that that's where people go, I think, generally, not always.
Yeah. Like if they hang around.
Yeah. Yeah, if they hang around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This has been a wonderful interview.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's July. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. The more reviews the show has, the more likely it will even appear in search results. Also, please tell a friend and share this show with anyone that you think might like it. Word of mouth reaches quite far, especially in the Burning Man community. If you would like to contact us, please send an email to shadowofthemanpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow Shadow of the Man on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and YouTube. The links for all of these are available at shadowoftheman.com. Feel free to use any of these social media accounts to provide any feedback you might have. Your thoughts on the show are greatly appreciated. Thank you, and see you soon for a new episode of The Shadow of the Man.
Thank you for listening to this latest show. We have to make another one, so gotta go. Don't worry, for next month we already have one in the can. Very soon you'll be listening to a new Shadow of the Man.